But before we start, we would like to ask everyone on a scale of 1 to 5, how excited how excited are you guys for today's program? I-chat na lang natin sa ating chat box kung anong nararamdaman niyo for today. Kung excited ba kayo matuto?
Ayun nga, Jansheri, marami ako nakikitang 5 for today. I think excited na ang ating mga teachers for today's program. Now, before we finally start, let us first pay respect to our flag as we sing the national anthem. This is followed by our invocation to seek guidance from our Almighty God for today's program.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas. Kayang magiliw, pero sa silanganan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, kuya ka ng magiting, sa mandulupin, di ka pasisigil, sa nagatang tutok sa simoy at sa langit ng bagaw, ay ginatang tulang awit sa pagkayang minamahal. Ang isang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na nag-iibig, ang bituin at araw niya kailan ang ay di magdidinig. Lumalang araw ng walang pagsinta, buhay ang langit sa piling mo. Ang inigaya ng bantay Bernabe, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Again, welcome to our
Let us put ourselves in the presence of the Lord. Let's pray. Our Lord God in heaven, thank you for the new day you bestowed upon us. Until this moment, we still have our borrowed life and strength from you. We worship and praise your holy name. This moment, we will continue to study and acquire new knowledge. May you bless our students with the witty brain to think fast and an inquiring mind to be curious in whatever knowledge they will learn today. Most importantly, bless them with your wisdom and a heart that will follow your commandments in order for them to become worthy in their studies. You know that in these recent times, most are suffering from hardships and economic crisis. We humbly ask you to bless the parents of our students. May you shower your abundant blessings and prosperity to each of their homes. So that we can use this not only for our daily lives, but especially for the performance of our duties to your holy name. We hope that you heard our prayer. We ask all of this in the name of Jesus Christ, our Savior. Amen.
Again, welcome to our first webinar series. I am Jansheri at Santa Cruz.
And I am Darilay, and we are your masters of ceremony for today's program.
But before we proceed, a gentle reminder lang to please take a screenshot for today's program as it is needed in answering our Google Forms later.
Also, check if your mic is off to avoid interruptions to our speakers while discussing. But before we proceed to the program proper, let us first have a quick and fun icebreaker to be facilitated by Miss Alcantara.
Yan, hello everyone. So, kumain na ba kayo? Yan, mag-icebreaker lang tayo for today. So simple lang naman ang icebreaker natin. It is a translation game. Rinig po ba ako? Oh no, di yata ako nagkakanak. Rinig po ako.
Yes po.
Okay po. Thank you. So, eto, translation game. Yay. So, basically, Filipino to English lang siya. Related siya sa topic natin today na literacy. Okay. So, paano ba tong translation game na to? Simple lang naman. So, type the best translation in the chat box to everyone, and you have 20 seconds to send your answers. So, within 20 seconds, you can just type kung ano yung best translation sa tingin nyo for that specific Filipino phrase or sentence or maybe a word. And the best translation wins. Given that multiple participants that have the same winning answer, the first one who sent his or her answer gets the point. So, klaro po ba? So, susulatin niyo lang yung translation sa chat box. Within 20 seconds, kung nakuha niyo, then sa inyo yung point. Ganun lang yun. We can proceed na. Type nyo nga, ready kapag ready na kaya. Sige. Sige, sige. Let's start. So, first, yan. Ang first sentence, syempre yung classic, pag ilan ka sa magkakapatid? 20 seconds starts now. So, pang ilan ka sa magkakapatid? Mga 5 seconds left. Okay, so tapos na ang ating timer. So, sino mananalo dito? Uy, tapos na yung time. Okay, so ang panalo ay si... wait lang. Sige. Si Jose. Okay, good. Si Jose ang panalo for this question. Yes, sir. Okay. Next naman, number 2. Okay. Balitaan mo na lang ako. Timer starts. Okay. So, tapos na ang ating time. Okay, so, ang manalo ngayon ay si Sean Leonard. Yan. Okay? Yay. Congrats, Sue. Sige. So, 1 point kay Jose, 1 point kay Sean. Next naman, number 3. Bahala na. Sige, timer starts. Ito. 5 seconds. Okay, tapos na ang ating timer. So, sino ang ating winner? Sino kaya ang papalarin na maging best? Okay, si Janiel. Okay, si Janiel ang winner sa number 3. Okay, good. Nice too. Yan. So, ngayon si Jose, Sean at Janiel may tig isang point. Okay, so for number 4, yan, kilig-kilig ako. So, paano niya ito translate niyan? Timer starts. So, okay, tapos na ang ating timer. Totoo. Okay, so ang panalo ay si Sean Bustillo. Okay, siya yung unang nagsabi ng I'm blush. Okay. Okay, next number. Puyat ka na naman? Yan. So, timer starts. Ten seconds. Totoo. Okay. So, tapos okay, so sino ang ating winner for number 5? Okay, so si Janiel ang nakakuha ng point. So, 2 points na si Janiel. Okay, habol guys. Totoo ako. Sige. Okay, we have 5 more numbers to go. So, next, number 6. Sana ang pasalubong ko. Yes, timer starts. Ikaw. Uy. Paging Senon. Okay. So, tapos na ang ating timer. Ang tamang ang winning answer ay mapupunta kay Karil. Okay. Congrats to Karil. Okay. So, ang score natin ay si Jose 1, Sean Leonard 1, Chaniel 2, Sean Basilio 1, at si Karil 1. Okay? So, we have 4 more to go. Let's go. And number 7. Walang hiya. So, panitat and sige. Time. Ang haba naman. Uy. Okay, tapos na ang timer. So, sino kaya nakakuha ng tamang sagot? Si Maika. Ayan, si Maika. Congrats. Ayan. So, pwede pang humabol, guys. Okay. Next number. Utang na loob, huwag mo gawin yun. So, paano niya kayo sabihin? Timer starts pala. Okay. So, wait lang. So, okay, sino? Haji ba? Haji ba? So, ang winning answer natin ay, wait lang, confirm ka lang. Si Sean, ayan. Tama, si Sean. Si Sean Bastilla. Ayan. Okay. So, Sean Bastilla got the point. So, ayan. So, 2 points. Ang 2 points natin ngayon ay sila Janiel and Sean. So, few more numbers left. Let's go. Okay, number 9. Ikaw ba naman ganun din eh? Ikaw ba naman ganun din eh? So, paano niyo ita-translate yun? Ikaw ba naman ganun? 5 seconds. Okay, so time's up. May matinong sagot ba dito? O sige. Since wala tayong mapili dahil walang matino within the time, last number na natin yung next. Okay? So, yan. Kapag time's up na, hindi na siya mag-count. So, better be fast. Okay, last number. Walang iba, ikaw lang. So, ayan. Timer starts. Plus 99. Okay. So, ox na siya. Okay na yung timer natin. So, sino kaya mananalo sa number 10? Okay. Ang nanalo ngayon ay si Althea. Okay, nice. So, Althea. Okay, so recap ng scores since last number na to. 1, Jose, 1 Sean Leonard, 2 kay Janiel, 2 kay Sean, isa kay Karil, 1 kay Micah, isa din kay Althea. So, ang winners natin ay sila, Daniel at si Sean Bustillo. Yay! Congrats. So, sige, palakpakan naman natin mga sarili natin. Yahoo! Okay. So, yan. Sana this icebreaker was fun and energizing for you to get ready for today's topic and webinar. And thank you very much. And yeah, you can proceed na mga MC.
Thank you so much, Miss Edel. Halata namang nag-enjoy ang ating mga participants dahil talagang napaisip sila, pati na rin ako kung ano yung mga English translation ng mga binigay na Filipino phrases. But before that, patingin naman ng thumbs up dyan, guys, kung excited na kayo. Thumbs up naman dyan, guys. At dahil dyan, mukhang excited na talaga kayo matuto at alamin din kung may kinalaman nga ba yung ating icebreaker sa i-discuss ng ating speaker. Kaya naman, wag na nating patagalin pa. Let me introduce our first speaker for today, Miss Leih Hershelle Moreno.
Medyo dumilim. Kasi
So hello everyone, I am Leih Hershelle S. Moreno and I will be discussing the first part of the introduction of the key literacy concepts.
bawal sa inom. Hi, Jack. BRB. Sige, Bams, thank you so much. Balik ka lang. Hey, thank you so much, JC, sa pag-tap. And thank you so much, Bams, as well. Appreciate you guys. Hi, Mari Cruz Fernandez. Thank you so much for
Okay, so let's start again. So hello everyone. I am Leih Hershelle Moreno and I will be discussing the first part of the introduction of the key literacy concepts. So let's start with the definition of traditional literacy. So literacy comes from the word literate, which means the ability to read and write. And it is derived from the Latin word literatus, meaning a person marked with letters that is distinguished and identified by letters. So basically, ang idea ng literatus ay isang tao na cultured and educated. Since ang pinaka-importante na subject na kailangan pag-akalan ng mga tao before and even now ay mayroong written text. So for example, grammar, logic, arithmetic, geometry, etc. Ang ability na magsulat at magbasa ay napaka-importante. So next slide. So in 1973, dinivide ni Miller ang conventional concept of literacy into three subcategories. So it is the basic literacy, comprehension literacy, and functional or practical literacy. So unahin na natin ang basic literacy. So ang basic literacy is the ability to correspond visual shapes to spoken sounds in order to decode written materials and translate them into oral language. So ang ibig sabihin nito, kung kaya natin i-recognize ang mga letters and words na nakasulat, and kung alam natin kung paano sila sabihin orally, mayroon na tayong basic literacy. So for example, meron tayong combination ng letters sa alphabet which is B-A-S-A. So, and if we're able to orally say basa instead of just saying B-A-S-A, that means that we recognize the sequence of the letters and know how to say basa and know how to say it as basa and without understanding what it means. So next. So sunod naman ay comprehension literacy. So it is the ability to understand the meaning of what is being read. So ibig sabihin, naiintindihan natin yung words na binabasa natin. So for example, basa, so sa way na pagkakasabi ko, ang ibig sabihin nun ay red at hindi wet. So pag binago ko yung way ng pagbabasa ko to basa, ang ibig sabihin na nun ay wet. So being able to understand the difference between those two words means you have comprehension literacy. So next. Next is functional or practical literacy. So it is the ability to read written materials needed to perform everyday vocational tasks. So ang ibig sabihin nun, kung ano man yung context ng isang word, depende kung paano siya gamitin sa isang sentence. So for example, ang bata ay nagbabasa ng libro. So hindi naman natin masasabi na ang meaning ng sentence is the kid is getting the book wet dahil hindi naman ito yung context ng sentence. So being able to understand the use of the words depending on what context it is used means you have functional or practical literacy. So next. So there are two things needed for reading to exist. Ang una ay text, dahil kung wala ito, wala ring mababasa na kung ano. And the second one is the meaning or message. Dahil kung wala naman ito, isa lang napakaraming sequence ng scribbles and doodles ang isang text. So dahil hindi ma-consider na reading if it doesn't have text or meaning, it means that in Miller's definition of literacy, the act of reading implies a level of understanding. So simply knowing how to say a word is not the same as being able to understand what it means. And without understanding the meaning of the words, then reading has not taken place. So next. So that brings us to Schlechty's definition of functional literacy in 2001. So according to them, the concept is defined as the state of being able to read but not well enough to manage daily living and employment tasks that require reading skills beyond a basic level. So this synchronicity between decoding textual symbols and being able to extract and understand their meaning is necessary part of being literate. So let's go ahead and discuss the expanded views of literacy. So next slide, please. So the meaning of literacy has changed over time. So in 1995, Roberts noted that the definition of literacy has been advanced by many important people in the history. And even in the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, or so-called UNESCO, in 2006, acknowledged that literacy has been defined and interpreted in multiple ways. So according to UNESCO in 2004, literacy is the ability to identify, interpret, create, communicate, and compute using printed and written materials associated with varying contexts. So it is also knowing about something and knowing what to do with it. So it's similar with UNESCO. Makanda Wire in 2018 defined literacy as a form of knowledge, competence, and skills in a particular field or area. So several people, including the ones I just mentioned, which is the UNESCO and Makanda Wire, acknowledge that modern views appear to equate literacy with knowledge. So next slide po. So napaka-importante ng shift ng definition ng literacy and writing to knowledge. So unti-unti nang nawawalan ng connection or hindi na nagme-make sense yung conventional theory sa mga makabagong literacies. But if the new literacies is viewed as knowledge, they begin to make sense because they are skills and knowledge that are necessary for survival. So it means that rather than defining it as an ability to read and write, defining it as knowledge makes more sense because knowledge evolved over time. So with this reasoning, it means that new literacies is actually not new, but evolved literacies with evolved skills and knowledge. So next slide. So that brings us to the past. So ancient Chinese and ancient Greeks and indigenous people of North America use a long-distance communication system of smoke signals. And in Victorian era, there's a thing called language of flowers used to communicate messages. So in this language of flowers, the kind, color, and arrangement of bouquet of flowers have different meanings. So they use it to communicate with other people. So ang tawag dito ay visual language at ang visual language ay nag-require ng visual literacy. So ang visual literacy, ito yung mga literacies na nangangailangan ng analyzation before mo maintindihan kung ano yung message or meaning ng isang bagay. So ang skill na to ay ginagamit pa rin in the present but in a different or evolved way. So for example, we have social media now and we can analyze a lot of things from how people manage their social media and what they post on it. So next. So with the rise of new literacies, there are three critical effects: the increased reach, increased means of communication, and increased breadth of content. So for the increased reach, dahil meron na tayong advanced technology, nagkakaroon na rin tayo ng napakalawak na range ng people na pwede nating kontakin all over the world. So next is increased means of communication. So dahil din dito, mayroon na tayong paraan upang contact yung mga tao, even other species outside the earth without a problem. And the last one is increased breadth of content. So mayroon na rin tayong almost unlimited access to any information and can reach out to anyone that has that information. So next slide. So despite having all the information we need, we still have a few problems to deal with. So how do we work together with people of different cultures who have vastly different perspective on communication, work ethics, values, religious beliefs, and worldviews? What do we do when some of these might be mutually exclusive to our own? And in an age where information is power, where knowing more and knowing first can spell difference between success and failure, how do we leverage both current and emergent technologies so that our endeavors are both productive and profitable? So moreover, how do we navigate and manage the veritable minefield of information that was just considered taboo and private and now is online for all the world to see and judge, whether we like it or not? So to better address the need for teachers to be literate in these new literacies, we will be discussing these in the following units. So next slide. So the first one is globalization and multicultural literacy. So in this literacy, it discusses how increasing ability to communicate with almost anyone in anywhere real time requires new skill and attitude. So dahil may kakayahan na tayo makipag-communicate anytime and anywhere sa mga taong mayroong ibang paniniwala, kultura, or tradisyon sa atin, dapat naglalaan na rin tayo ng time para malaman ang pagkakaiba at pagkakapareho para ma-promote natin yung peace and understanding sa isa't isa at makip natin yung mutual benefit and productivity. So next slide. So the next one is social and financial literacies. So it is the ability to navigate our own social networks to not only communicate clearly, but also to leverage resources which we ourselves might not possess. So in social literacy, it's important to know how to properly communicate with people because it allows you to grow, to be guided, and to learn something from others. So ang financial literacy naman, it allows you to properly manage your finances. So napaka-importante nito, lalong-lalo na sa mga Filipina na dahil naganap sa kultura natin, yung hindi natin masyadong iniisip kung ano mangyayari sa kinabukasan and nag-focus lang tayo sa kung ano nangyayari in the present. So most of the time, this causes a lot of financial strain and can be passed on generations to generations. So next slide. So the next one is media and cyber digital literacies. So this literacy explores the emerging need to locate, verify, and ultimately manage online information. So dahil nabuhay na tayo sa era kung kailan laganap na yung technology and halos lahat ng information ay isang pindot na lang, so napakadali na natin makakuha ng mga maling impormasyon. So it's up to us whether we believe everything we see online and possibly use the wrong information ignorantly. So napaka-importante na mag-fact check muna tayo bago gamitin natin yung information. So next slide. So the next one is eco-literacy and artistic and creative literacy. So this is the emerging demands for knowing how to effectively and sustainably manage the natural resources that our increased industrialization are rapidly eating up. So in eco-literacy, it's important to know that everything is limited and some of them are non-renewable resources. So dapat may kamalayan na yung mga tao sa tunay na pangyayari ng kalikasan and kung gaano kalaki yung epekto nila kung gaano kalaki yung simpleng galaw nila sa nature. So ang artistic and creative literacy naman ay nagsasabi na ang arts and aesthetics daw ay maaaring magamit as a way of communication. So one great example of this is poster making. So we all remember that poster making contest full of hands that's holding the earth, right? So kung yung mga ganong poster ay unconsciously na nagbibigay ng awareness sa mga tao at kung ano yung real condition talaga ng earth. So art can be a very good way to influence people about certain objectives. So next one. So the last one is critical literacy. So it addresses the increasing need to understand the underlying messages behind new texts of 21st century. So it allows people to question and examine ideas, then analyze, interpret, evaluate, and respond to the new text. So dahil nagdidig deep na mga tao, instead of just accepting what they read or comprehended, nagkakaroon na tayo ng bagong conclusion and bagong message or meaning sa mga bagay-bagay. So that's the end of the first part of the discussion, and Aubrey will be discussing the features of 21st century teaching and learning, critical attributes of 21st century education, and basic strategies of developing literacy. Again, I'm Leih. Thank you so much. That's all.
Thank you very much, Ms. Moreno, for that such an inspiring and informative talk. Let's all give her a warm round of applause. One of my takeaways from our speaker's speech is that In the conventional or traditional view of literacy, literacy is more on just reading and writing, while in the 21st century, literacy now focuses on the knowledge of the person rather than just simply reading and writing. How about you, Jansheri?
For me, I've learned that yung according kay Miller, yung conventional concept of literacy daw ay dinidivide into three subcategories. Yung una doon, yung basic literacy, which is yung ability to recognize daw letters and words. And yung isa, comprehension literacy naman, sinasabi yung ability to understand the meaning of what is being read. And yung functional or practical literacy naman yung sinasabing ability to read written materials needed to perform everyday vocational tasks. And ayun, sana marami rin kayo natutunan for our first part sa ating webinar. And before we proceed to our next presenter, let us have a short game that will be led by Miss Edel.
Hello po ulit. Okay, so we will have a game, probably familiar to us, pero yeah. Ang tawag sa game na to ay Jeopardy. So, sino nakakaalam ng game na Jeopardy? Meron. Sige, share ko muna screen ko. Okay. So, Jeopardy. First of all, habang nagdi-discuss tayo ng mechanics, gawin muna natin is, pumili kayo sa groupmates nyo kung sino maging representative ng grupo nyo. So, di ba may kanya-kanya tayong grupo. So, ayun. Pili na kayo ng representative per group to participate in this game. Although, later, pwede naman kayo mag-usap-usap sa GC tungkol sa kung ano sa tingin niyo yung tamang sagot. So, it will look like this. It can look familiar because we played this before. Categories, may categories, and there are points. So, pinili niyo category 1, 300 points. Ayan. So, yun yung tanong na ibabato sa inyo. And for this game, since una group 2 kasi group 1 kami, so team 1 is group 2, team 2 is group 3, and team 3 is group 4. Ngayon, everyone is given a chance per round, so hindi naman to paunahan. And, yun, hindi to paunahan, and then there are 5 rounds. So, take note of that na lang. So, here's an example question. For example, pumili kayo, category 6, 500 points. It is a whole number, a number that is not a fraction. Yun yung prompt. And then yung sagot niya dapat is patanong, what is an integer? So yung sagot ay integer, so dapat what is an integer? Kasi kumbaga, kung ano yung sagot niyo, parang baligtad yung concept ng Jeopardy na kung ano yung tanong, yun yung sagot. Kung ano yung sagot, yun yung tanong. So ano yung sagot sa what is an integer? It is a whole number, a number that is not a fraction. So, ayan. Any questions po ba? Kung meron, type Y. Kung wala, type N. Feel free to raise your questions. Okay. Guys, may prize to Kaya galingan niyo. Sige. Whoever is the winning group wins. Also, something to note, you can look at the module for this one. Yung coverage niya is what Miss Leih shared earlier and also what Miss Aubrey will share later. So it's a bit of like a review and an introduction at the same time. So you have 15 seconds once the prompt starts. You have 15 seconds to think and say your answer. So, kapag hindi pa tanong yung answer nyo, then X, then hindi matatanggap yung sagot nyo. Clear po ba? Type clear kung clear. Okay. Clear. Okay guys, sino yung gusto maging representative? Group 2, sino representative niya? Si Paul. Paul? Sige. Okay, group 2, si Paul. Inform ka ba, Paul? Char. Ayan. Sa group 3 naman, sino? Ria, sige. Okay. Next. Group 4. Ayan. Sige, saka lang. Aaron na kasi. Sino? Pumili na kayo. Kahit ano, roleta, pili kayo. Para di magulo. Yung makaka-on mic ka. Sige, si Jose. Sila Paul, Ria, at Jose makaka-on mic naman.
Sound check po. Hello.
Sound check. Hello. Ayan. Si Ria at si Paul.
Hello po.
Hello.
Hello po.
Ayan. Okay. Ready na tayo. Yay. Exit lang natin. Okay. We can start now. So again, Team 1 is Group 2, Team 2 is Group 3, Team 3 is Group 4. So ganun. Okay. So let's start. Okay. Let's start. So Group 2, which is Team 1. Anong gusto niyo? Category and points. May prize to guys para sa mga members ng ano. Ng grupo. Paul, anong pipiliin mo?
Definitions of traditional literacy, 300.
Sige. Okay. Let's go. It is the ability to understand the meaning of what is being read. So timer starts. 10 seconds.
What is comprehension literacy?
Okay. So ang tamang sagot ay what is comprehension literacy? Tama. So yay, may 300 na kayo. Good job. Yay. Okay. Next group naman. Rio, ano pipiliin mo?
Sige, doon tayo sa definition of traditional literacies 400.
Sige. Yeah. It is the ability to read, decode, and comprehend written materials used to perform everyday vocational tasks. Timer starts.
What is basic literacy?
Okay.
Is function
Wala eh. Basic literacy yung nasabi, tsaka times up. So, ang tamang sagot ay functional or practical literacy. Saj, sasabihin mo sana yun. Sige, bawi. So, kapag hindi tama sagot niya, pass lang siya. So, hindi siya ma-minus or stuff. Okay, sige. Next group naman, group 4, Jose.
Definitions of traditional literacies, 500.
Ito na naman to. Sige. Ito. It is the ability to infer that puno from the text punong-puno na ako sa'yo refers to being full rather than the tree. Timer starts.
What is functional or practical literacy?
Okay. So, ang tamang sagot ay what is functional or practical literacy. Okay, good job. Yay. Okay. So, first round is done. We have 4 rounds to go. So, nangungunat yung group 4. Tapos yan, bawi tayo, group 3. And also group 2, carry. Okay, Paul, ano yung next? Group 2.
Features of 21st century teaching and learning, 500.
500. Sige. So, 500. This shift changes teachers' roles from ultimate authorities to co-learners with the students. So, timer starts.
Change role of the teacher. What is change role of the teacher?
Okay, so ang tamang sagot ay tanggapin na natin what is the change role of the teacher. Pwede na rin yun. Tanggapin na natin what is the change role of the teacher. Okay, tama naman din siya. Okay, congrats. Di pwede daw. Basta kung pwede. Ang mga kagrupo ko magsalita kayo, pwede ba yung sagot niyo, Paul? What is the change role of the teacher? Dapat daw exact. Sabi ni Senon. Tama no? Wait. Ha? Tanggapin daw natin, sabi ng mga kagrupo natin. Okay, tanggapin natin. Uy, kapag hindi exact words, okay lang. Mali yung kanina talaga. Uy. Source pa rin natin is yung module. Pero may ganun din kasi sa module eh. Okay na yun. Magkaiba yung outline at saka sa content. Okay. Sa outline, change roles. Sa content, rethinking learning. Sige, go. May ganun sa module. Sige. 800 na ang group 1. Okay. Or team 1 pala, which is group 2. Okay, next group 3, Rio.
Sige, yung definitions of 21st century literacies, 500.
Ayan. Wait, ano kaya? Ang timer ko. 500. Let's go. It is the emerging demands for knowing how to effectively and sustainably manage the natural resources that our increased industrialization and demands for productivity are so rapidly eating up. So, timer starts.
What is eco-literacy and artistic and creative literacy?
Kaya tignan natin. So, tama siya. Kaso di ka umabot sa oras. So, 15 seconds lang siya. So, hindi siya matatanggap. So, next time, bilisan natin. Okay. Okay. So, pero tama pa rin sagot mo. Congrats. Sayang 500 pa naman yun. Okay. Next naman tayo sa group 4, si Jose.
Ano yung tawag dito? Features, hindi. Critical attributes of the 21st century education, 400.
Okay, 400. Sige. This, when applied in the 21st century classroom, convinces the students of the importance and value of the subject matter. Timer starts. So, tapos na ang timer. May sagot ka ba if ever?
Wala.
Okay. So, ang tamang sagot ay what is relevant, rigorous, and real world. Kasi daw, kapag relevant ang kapag relevant sa students yung mga tinuturo, then nako-convince yung mga students sa importance niya. So, later madadiscuss din siya. Okay. So, recap. Group 2, 800. Group 4, 500. Group 3, wala pa. Sige, habol tayo. Okay. Group 2, Paul. Anong? Round 3 na tayo.
Sige, parang wala namang sigla. Basic strategies for developing literacy, 500.
Sige. Let's go. Okay. This is also reading between the lines.
What is inferring?
Okay. So, ang tamang sagot ay what is inferring. Okay. So, ayan. Tama siya. So, plus 500. Okay. Team 2 naman, group 3 Rio.
Kunin na namin yung nag-iisang 500.
O, sige. This ensures that learners are developing applications of the learning content through real-life situations. Timer starts. 10 seconds left. So, may sagot ka ba if ever hindi pa time's up?
Wala. Surrender na.
Wala yung habol ka, paunti-unti, 100, 100. Sige. So, yeah, what are project-based and research-driven? So, yun yung sagot. So, may mapapagpilian naman kayo sa module Ano yung best sa tingin niyo? Surrender na to. Kaya yan. Sige. Team 3, Group 4, Jose. Ano yung pipiliin mo?
Ay, nasarado pala mic ko. Yung basic strategies for developing literacies, 400.
Sige. So, This is knowing the author's intent for writing and understanding the big ideas of the text. Timer starts.
What is determining importance?
Okay, ang tamang sagot ay what is determining importance. So, tama. Yay. Ayan. So, that ends round 3. We have 2 more rounds. So, group 2 has 1,300. Group 3 has none so far. Group 4 has 900. Sige, walang susuko. Kaya niya yan. Okay. Okay, Paul. Ano yung para sa group 2?
Definitions of the 21st century literacy or forehand.
Sige. Grabe. 400. Sige. It addresses the increasing need to understand the underlying messages behind the new text of the 21st century. Timer starts.
What is media literacy?
Okay, so tamang sagot ay okay. So okay. Oh. Sorry, hindi ko narinig masyado yung sagot niyo. Critical yung sagot niyo, no? O iba? Paul?
Iba, media yung sagot natin.
Media din narinig ko. Sige. Wala namang bawas. Okay. Nice. Okay. 1,300 pa rin kayo. Okay. Team 2.
Yung nag-iisang 400.
Ganun sige. Okay. This approach acknowledges that we are much better at knowing, remembering, and using knowledge if we learn actively rather than through passive learning. Timer starts.
What is learning through doing?
Okay, what is learning through doing? So ang tamang sagot is, what is learning through doing? Okay. So, may 400 na sila. Yay. Okay, due to lack of time, siguro ito yung last round. So, pagtapos ng team 3, tapos na yung, natin, yung game natin. So, okay. Jose, ano yung niya? Ano yung pipiliin?
Basic strategies for developing literacies, 300.
Sige. It is the combination of information from separate sources.
What is making connections?
So, tamang sagot ay what is synthesizing? Yeah. So, synthesizing dapat. Making connections more on sa with other people siya. So, yeah. Synthesizing sa sources. So, that concludes our game. Who won? So, recap sa scores. Team 1 or Group 2 has 1,300. Group 3 has 400. And Group 4 has 900. So, our winner is Group 2. Congrats, Group 2. And, yeah, thank you, hindi kayo sumuko. And, I hope you enjoyed the game. Sige, take it away, mga MC.
Thank you so much, Miss Adele. I hope everyone enjoyed that game activity. And congratulations also to Group 2, especially to their representative, Mr. Paul Diog. But now, may I ask everyone to please give me a heart reaction to check if andyan pa ba kayo? Ayan, I see many heart reacts. Now, let's all move on to our next presenter, and let us all welcome Miss Aubrey Althea, Adriano, and give her a virtual or a round of applause.
So yeah, good afternoon, guys. I hope you enjoyed the icebreakers and the game that we had. So I also hope you enjoyed your week last week. Let's proceed now with the features of 21st century teaching and learning. In the current generation, there's a lot of skills that are being honed to school. Say, for example, problem solving and communication skills. But these features that we're about to discuss are very important skills and concepts in today's teachings and learning. So without further ado, let's start exploring these features and proceed to the first one. So first one is the personalized learning. Learning is never a one size fits all. That's all. That's also the reason why we have multiple intelligences. We have different ways to learn. Some may learn through visual, some may learn through audio. That is why in teaching, we should assess our students' needs and adjust it through the following. First, differentiate content difficulty. So not everybody learns the same difficulty, especially if they are being taught the same approach. As future educators, we can never assume that students learn from the same thing from what you are teaching. Some might get it deeper, some might just skim the general concept. So it will be better if we personalize the approach and the way we teach to the personalized learning style of the students. Next one is differentiate modes of delivery. So as we learn na not all can learn from the same strategy, we have to adjust our methods then to suit students' personal learning needs. And also differentiate assessment strategies. And when we heard of assessment, we often think of the traditional quizzes and exam that we had in school, that is all being written down lang. That is one way, but we can never be sure that those assessments can really assess all students have learned in the class. They can show it through practicals and other methods that we can still recover in the following future. In additional, guys, during 20th century, students were taught the same teaching strategy in the same manner and same time, also known as banking model of education. One of the most known theory that shifted people's beliefs from one size fits all to personalized learning is the social environmental factor social cultural theory in which it recognized the importance of other factors such as social, cultural, and environmental factors in students' learning. So personalized learning involves differentiating instruction so that students can learn in ways that suit their personal needs or personal learning needs. Lastly, some of the example of this personalized learning includes first differentiated instruction, individualized educational plans, student-led projects in the classroom, and enhanced freedom of choice in the classroom. So next feature. So we have equity, diversity, and inclusivity. Come on, guys. It's 2023. If we haven't learned of these trees and not applying them in real life, there is something wrong with us. So equity, we teach our students basing on their learning needs. We look at them as students who wanted to learn, not with their status, not with their capability, and etc. They are all in school because they simply need to learn, and it is their basic right as well. Next one is diversity. So people come from different cultures, and we should always let them feel that there is nothing wrong if you come from different community than most people inside this classroom. As much as they felt the acceptance, they will feel comfortable in learning as well inside the classroom. Next one is inclusivity. So this is what our local education system had been promoting. No students left behind despite the disabilities, ability level, status, etc. So these three guys are the driving factors behind the increased equity, diversity, and inclusivity in the 21st century education. First one is social model of disability, in which it promotes that students with disabilities should be included in the mainstream classrooms. Next one is increased cultural diversity, which promotes greater awareness of differences between cultures inside the classroom. And last one is gender equality, which promotes acceptance despite gender differences. Let's proceed with the next picture. So learning through doing. The central idea in the learning through doing is that we are much better at knowing, remembering, and using knowledge if we learn actively rather than through passive learning. And by passive learning, we meant memorizing to learn. Some of the advantages of implementing learning through doing is first, you get to have the first-hand experience and apply it in real world or real life situations. Second is you get the opportunity to learn through trial and error. So you can just try until you succeed. Third one is aren't told something, which means you discovered it by yourself, not because someone has told you. And the last one is learn information that isn't just theoretical, but you can apply it as well, or engage it in the world concepts. So we have these paradigms, three paradigms examples in learning through doing. First one is cognitive constructivism, which believes that we learn by constructing ideas in our heads. For example, you ask the students to report the topic. Through their prior knowledge and additional researches combined, they would be able to grasp the concept of the topic on their own. The next one is problem-based learning, which involves learning through solving problems. So for example, you task the students to create an organization with a project proposal to meet a specific societal issue. So you gave them a problem and they exhaust their resources to solve that specific problem. The next one is problem posing education. So active learning strategy where a teacher or student poses a problem and the class collaborates to find answers. A major problem is presented in the class, say for example, pollution. That major problem will prompt the teacher and the students to create questions like what are the causes of pollutions, what are the effects. It aims to let the students together with the teacher to have a collaborative discussion and exchange of ideas as well. Okay, well, let's proceed to the next picture. Change role of the teacher. So this is just revolves teacher centered versus student centered. So there is now a huge differences in classroom setups from 20th century to 21st century. We all experience the teacher as authority classroom setup where the teacher does everything and you just have to take all the learnings from them. Next thing you know, is you're taking an exam basing on the knowledge you just heard from your teacher. But now we believe that students can learn more from themselves, and as teachers, we are co-learning with them. We are actively promoting and requiring a student-centered learning classroom where we let our students to learn from themselves, but still also with the teacher's guidance, performance tasks are being more prioritized. Let's proceed to the next picture. Community relationships. So we are teaching our students in the hopes that they will become what they want to become someday through the learnings that they got from us. But if the school community serves as the training community of their future, we might as well let them exposed to through different communities. So teachers are not experts of everything, but there is an expert of every topic there in the world. Inviting different experts from different fields and community will make our students to envision more of their future. That is why building relationship from different communities is really important. So next picture. Technology. So modernization is possible with technology, and it is also vital in learning. And by learning, we meant that technology should be used as a tool to help them think harder and better, not a tool to help them cheat in class and etc. Okay, next picture. teacher professionalization. So changes are fast, and as teachers, we should be able to adopt from it. And it has been one of the most challenging job for a teacher to adapt with fast-pacing environment. So you have to create new pedagogies, strategies, methods, and teaching styles, all just to cope up with students' learning needs. Not to mention, we also have to adapt with modernized technologies that our system is becoming dependent with. It is a challenge, and we need so much time and space to adopt, but that is the vocation that we choose and we can survive to. So next one, guys, let's proceed with the critical attributes of the 21st century education. First one is integrated and interdisciplinary. So education nowadays should be integrated and interdisciplinary daw, because teachers should organize the curriculum around common learning across disciplines, across different disciplines in this approach to integration. Next one is technologies and multimedia. So we cannot deny that ICT and media learning is important in digital age. It is an attribute that students should be exposed to, not that they aren't exposed of it outside the school, but to learn information and technology literacy in the school. Next one is global classroom. In global classrooms, guys, students engage in hands-on activities such as traditional games, song, dance lessons, art project, etc. Students complete final projects in which they investigate cultural topics of a given interest through the arts, literacy, and the digital media that there is inside the classroom. Next one is creating, adapting to constant personal and social change and lifelong learning. So life is just about learning new things each day. So some of the new learnings may change the previous learnings. Students should also learn that change is inevitable. That is the only constant thing in the world. What they learn from school may not be able to may not be applicable to anything outside. So teachers will encounter more as well diversity inside the classroom. So everyone should be able to adapt with the changes happening inside the classroom. So next one is student-centered. As we learned from the previous lessons, students learn better and more from themselves and their hands-on experiences inside the classroom. So teachers will just be co-learning with them and serve as a guide on their learning journey. And every classrooms are implementing student-centered learning as students know themselves the most, and how will they learn better through themselves. The next one is 21st century skills. So some of the skills important for today's generation are information technology, digital and literacy skills, social and collaboration skills, critical thinking, problem solving, and most importantly is the communication skills. So there are also other skills not included here, but later on we will be flashing some links that you can browse, so you can learn more about these 21st century skills. So these are all vital, as most things revolve around these skills na. To prepare students for their future, we should help them hone these skills, and as teacher, we should also possess them as role models. Next one is project-based and research-driven. So it is a novel approach to education teachers that teaches a variety of strategies essential for success in the 21st century education. Students direct their own learning through inquiry and collaborate to excuse me. I'm sorry, guys, for the commercial. So again, project-based and research-driven. Students direct their own learning through inquiry and collaborate to conduct research and create projects that reflect their knowledge. Also, this encourage students to apply knowledge in real-life situation na rin. Next one is relevant, rigorous, and real world. So there is a lot of things that we can teach students that they can learn that we can include in the curriculum, but all of it should be relevant in attaining educational goals. Also, it should widen the students' ideas and opinions of the issues in real world. It should allow them to create their own relevant opinion and see values in such topics. So let's proceed to the last topic for today, the basic strategies for developing literacy. First one is making connections. So when we are reading or learning something, we tend to connect what we learn in our lives, and usually connect it through first text to self. We connect what we read from our hands-on experience, our own experiences. Second one is text to text. We connect what we read from another literature. And the last one is text to community, where we connect what we read from the from the events happening in our community. Next one is visualizing. So it is creating a picture from a story and letting your imagination gone wild. When we read something, we tend to visualize it in our heads through the description of the text. For example, a red ball. Some may visualize a red ball on the floor, red basketball, or a red ping pong. But the point is you visualize it in your mind, but by the word that I said, that the ball is red. Next one is inferring. When we infer, we think beyond what we see, or this is what we discussed earlier, reading between the lines. For example, you saw a picture of a couple. You infer that they were happy at that moment the picture is taken. Another thing is you saw some footprints in the sand. You infer that someone has walked them or has walked there. Same thing goes with reading. We got hints from the words that we read of what is about to happen in the story. Although it was never mentioned to in the story pa, you already know what is about to happen. Next one is questioning. When we are reading, there are concepts that tend to confuse us. That's why we ask these questions. And these questions will later be answered by ourselves then by gathering evidences from the text and concluding what could possibly the answer be. Next one is determining importance. So in reading, we should determine what really is the motive of the story, or what really is the big idea of the story. So we should understand the ideas happening inside the story, and we could determine the importance of the story by first skimming the story. Second one, getting the general idea, analyzing the title or doing research about the author or about what is the most topic he is writing about. And the last one will be synthesizing. So synthesizing, guys, it is correlating different sources to generate one idea. So we do this when we research about the topic and we get information from different sources. Of course, these sources should be reliable. And we can look for the relationship and ideas from these sources by different ways, such as looking for cause and effect, problem solving, comparison, contrast, and classification. We also have different types of resources. So one is primary sources where first-hand information can be found, such as journals, diaries, speeches, and etc. And the next one is the secondary source where interpretations and evaluation of the primary sources can be found, which includes dictionaries, encyclopedia, monographs, and etc. So these are the links that I talked about earlier. If you want to learn more about the 21st century skills, you can browse or feel free to browse these links, and it is very helpful, guys. So that's all for today. I hope you enjoy our discussion, guys.
Thank you so much, Miss Adriano. Talaga namang importante na maging flexible ang mga teaching approaches nating mga guro at magiging guro dahil alam naman natin ang mga learners ay may iba't ibang paraan ng pagkatuto o yung tinatawag nating mga learning styles, lalo na nasa 21st century learning na tayo, and kung saan nga mas modern na ang approaches na ginagamit tulad ng pag-integrate nga ng technology sa pagtuturo. Kaya naman, we future educators must teach effectively to our learners in order to prepare them for the future and better hone their skills they need to be better hone their skills they need to be successful in global economy. How about you naman, Gio?
I totally agree. Ang ganda nga ng transition from being a teacher-centered noon, naging learner-centered na ang ating mga classrooms in the 21st century. Also, yung involvement ng technology in the classrooms is also a great improvement for the learning of the students. Now, co-teachers, could you please give us a round of heart reacts as we end our live? Again, our Google form will be sent to our GC, which will contain a quiz and an evaluation form. Please keep in mind that the Google form will only be available for 10 days, so it would be better if you will answer it as soon as possible.
So once again, thank you teachers and our Professor Rosalie Corpus for joining and learning with us today. I am Jansheri Santa Cruz.
And I am Darilay, signing off as your Masters of Ceremony.
And to officially end our program, let us all sing the PUP hymn.
Sintang paalalang tanglaw ka ng bayan, pandayan ang isip ng kabataan. Kami ay dumating na salat sa yaman, hanap na tulong ay iyong palay. Ang layunin mo, mga tao, dinarangan ang Pilipino, ang iyong alagin mo, ang ikaw taglay, piupi aming gabay, para lang dakila. Piupi pinagpalan, gagamitin mula sa'yo, para sa bayan, ang iyong kalagima, ang ikaw taglay, piupi aming gabay, para lang dakila. Piupi pinagpalan.
All right, once again, congratulations to group number 1 who very, very well explained what are the contents of unit number 1. As I had informed you earlier, this particular module is actually a work in progress. There have been other professors